Welcome to the Hire Truckers Podcast, where we interview experts in driver recruiting. We provide industry insights, marketing trends, and motivation to help you level up your recruiting game. Welcome to the Hire Truckers Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Craddock, and today we have Chris Harbin with Heniff. I'm actually super excited about this conversation because we relate to each other just on the leadership development and a passion for that. And Heniff has some incredible leaders in the organization. And so excited to kind of dive more into that. Chris has over 2 decades like in trucking or the industry as a whole and companies related to that. So he was at Coca-Cola for a while in a few different roles, and then went on to Miller Transportation, which was later acquired by Heniff. And so that's why he's with the Heniff family of companies now. And one of the things that's a big deal is even though they only started 25 years or so ago, like they're one of the top 10 largest trucking companies in the nation. And so it's a big deal. And so I'm just excited because Chris and I haven't chatted much before this call. So I'm excited to learn alongside you as the audience. So the first category we're going to start with is growth mindset that we typically touch on. And the first question I have there for you, Chris, is what makes Heniff great in terms of leadership or ownership?
It all starts with our leader, Mr. Bob Heniff himself. Bob has a vision. Bob is one that has done this for many years. And when your leader has a vision, he passes that down to his employees and everything. Not only employees, but our workers. And you got to have that energy and want to go out and get drivers and want to make things grow. And that's, to me, is what makes things go. He's one himself that has driven, can drive, and will drive now. I myself, the same thing. I have driven, active CDL holder. If I have to get out there and do it, it's all about getting the job done. It's a family affair here that where we get things done. Just bottom line.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just such a big deal. And I think it just makes you unique in the industry that you guys have just somebody, heading up the company that has done that. Because, a lot of your big companies in transportation or similar size fleets just don't have that anymore. They did back in the day, but it's, leadership now that maybe hasn't necessarily always been in transportation, definitely hasn't driven a truck. And so is he still pretty actively involved?
He's very much so active involved, and not only him, but pretty much all of our managers here at the corporate office. We all have driven in some form, shape, or fashion trucks in our careers and stuff. And it's just a good thing, man. When you got people that has knowledge and done the job, and make it easier to go out and recruit other drivers. And when I talk to guys during our orientation, introducing myself and all, you can just see their faces like, whoa, he actually done that. And they talk to our safety managers and they found out, okay, yeah, this man has driven too. So we can relate to the things that they have been through and the things that they are going to go through, which in turns make them feel proud about who they're working for. They don't have a problem with referring their drivers, their friends, and representing the company out in their trucking world.
So what does Bob do specifically that you love about just the way he leads?
He's a straight shooter. He's a straight shooter with a vision, and he lead by example. He's not going to ask you to do nothing more than what he would do or has done himself. He's also one that's there for advice. If you need something, you got a question about something, you ain't got to be scared to go in his office or see him in the hall. He's going to have that smile on his face. He's direct. He's one that if you want to know, ask him, and he's going to tell it. He'll tell it just like it is. And that's the one thing that I like about him, When you got somebody that's not going to beat around the bush with you, that goes a long way with me. So,
I love it. So one of the things you said in our pre-interview when you were meeting with Ginger on our team is that communication is key, like in the recruitment process or the way you run your department. And so can you elaborate a little more, like why is communication key?
Well, you think about it, when you're trying to get a driver to come to work with you, the one thing that he or she is going to do is ask questions. They want to know the information. They want to know about pay, of course. They want to know about routes. They want to know about the management team. They want to know the locations and all this good stuff. Well, it all starts with picking up the phone, answering the call, communicating to that driver. When you're conferencing them in with the terminal manager that he or she will be working for, it's all about communicating that information back and forth. Communication is the key to success with just about anything. If you don't communicate with people, the information that you're trying to get over to him or her is gone from the get-go. My team, I'm big on communicating the drivers what they need, where they at with that driver will coming aboard. If the phone rings, pick it up and answer. It's just huge with recruiting. If you can't answer the phone, you can't relay that information around, you're lost from the get-go. These days, you have all the other companies. Some companies have a large amount of people who are out calling these drivers, trying to get them on and all that. We're not that company to do that. We have a smaller group, but we stick with the facts. We live by, again, what we just said, communication. Answer the phone, relay the right information. Let's get that driver in as quickly as possible, but don't beat around the bush and tell them misleading information. And I have been, not only I, but my team and I have been very successful with doing that.
That's awesome. And so you're able to be a little more efficient, like on number of recruiters versus drivers coming in.
Correct. And the reason why is, again, we don't have all those. We don't have like some company of 10 and 15 people just sitting there calling different leads and all that good stuff. Now, we are a little bit different from a van company, flatbed and all that. We specialize in tankers. So we have, our drivers have to have the hazmat endorsement, have to have the 1-year tank experience. They have to have the TWIC card and all that good stuff. So we're looking at specialized drivers, which should have experience when they come aboard. But again, when they call and they want to ask information or they submit a short form, you want to communicate the right information, and that's how you get them aboard. Don't mess around, because just like you recruiting that person, somebody else is too. So the one with the most accurate information and the one who get to them the quickest are usually the ones that you're gonna be hiring and who they come to work for. So,
do you track that, like speed to or answers, or like are there metrics around that where you track it?
I don't track the speed, because you can get, and the reason why I don't track speed and all that, because when you're getting a good driver, they're going to ask some questions, and then you might be on that call with him or her for 10 minutes. He'll get off the phone, and then 5 minutes be coming back and going to be calling back again. Sometimes they repeat the same questions that I asked you already, just to see if you're going to say the same thing. Sometimes they have some more breaking new questions that they want to ask. And who knows, they might even have their friends on the call. It's been times that I've been on conference calls, especially when back in the COVID time when Facebook was good, communication, all the Zoom calls, and I get on, hey, Chris, how you doing? I'm looking at all this, like, who are all these people on this call? And I'm talking to them and all that. Don't know them from the man in the moon, but, they come out to be good people. Some of them come on, some of them don't come on. But they like the way you interact with them. They like the way you talk to them. They like the way you relay the information to them. But to answer you, I don't track the time. I do track the people that they talk to, but just not the time, the response time, things of that nature. I can pretty much tell you if they talk to Joe Blow or whatever. I can tell you how many people they talk to during the day, but just not the quickness or whatever. So
yeah, well, that's a good metric of just how many people.
Yes,
just even something as simple as that, because I know it may sound crazy, but a lot of fleets, don't track anything. And I know for you to be, one of the, more efficient in terms of like recruiter per hire that comes in, then, that means you have to have some level of a higher volume or more intentionality. It sounds like also more intentionality.
We do. We actually have 3 orientation schools or locations that we run. We run 2 of them every week. Since the downfall, since last year, we had to cut back and all, but we still have the 3rd one available if needed. But you got to set goals for your recruiters. Mine personally is 4 people in class every week. Now, some managers, they probably thinking like, that's not a lot. Again, we are specialized in what we look at. And I can assure you, if you come to work for a Heniff, you can go work anywhere. We are very, very detailed with going through your app, going through your driver record, going through everything. So it takes us a little bit more time than what it would take a normal van or flatbed or dry bulk or any other thing in that nature. But we are on it when it comes down to getting them aboard. And we average, every weekend class 15 to 20 people. So we're doing what we got to do.
That was going to be my next question. How many a week?
Yes. Now, sometimes it falls down, but that's the nature of the beast from different aspects. Things happen. People have changes in their life and their families where they can't come aboard. And, sometimes it might be medical situations or anything can happen. But for the most, that's what we shoot for, and that's what we're doing. For the most, my people are very competitive, so that you got recruiters that are trying to outdo the other ones or whatever, and they keep the excitement going. I like basketball myself, so I got a lot of little country sayings that I'll be giving out to them, and boy, they keep them going. So they keep them going.
Yeah, the just in running a business, like and the type of people that I hire into my company, they're all competitive. A lot have a sports background or enjoy it, and I just lose interest if it's not some type of competition or some type of goal we're heading towards achieving. Like, it's like, even if we, hit a goal, that means I have to stretch the goal further just because I don't do well without just the change and the competition. And that's literally how our whole team is wired. And so,
and I'm the same way, even back. If you go back to my college and high school days from playing basketball and stuff, my coach gave me a mouthpiece and told me to keep it in my mouth because I don't shut up. If it's up here, it's going to come out my mouth sooner or later. And my team, they all, and I kind of stir them up. I'm like, hey, this recruiter here got X amount of drives. What are you doing? You're not getting it going or whatever. And it's just the little things that keep them motivated. They all have respect, and I have seen that over my career. I have reviewed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of applications over my time, but the recruiters that do have a sports/trucking background are your better recruiters, are the ones who get out there, they get in the trenches, they do their thing. And they have a huge following on social media, which is a big tool for us that we use. So.
Yeah, and I think one thing you just mentioned is like it's healthy competition, because it's not like that backstabbing competition. It's like we can all win, and well, you sometimes have that where people are envious and want to undermine other people, and so it's just cool that you've developed just a healthy competitive culture.
I can 100,000,000% say that my team, they work together. If somebody's down, they're going to help the other one get caught up or whatever needs to be done. There's no backstabbing whatsoever.
That's awesome.
They great people to work with. So.
Today's sponsor. Do you hire truck drivers in hard to fill areas, or do you need help creating efficiency in your recruiting department? You're not alone. With 50 plus years experience, Trucking Clicks specializes in data-driven strategies, industry-leading customer experience, and custom solutions that'll get you to your goal. Trucking Clicks is your go-to place for high-quality, direct leads at scale. Visit truckingclicks.com or call 512-982-0816 today. One of the things you've touched on so far that I want to dive more into is just your focus on safety. And, some of that kind of came into the due diligence process, or the process of getting all the documentation when you bring people on. But some of the things I have just in doing a little research on you guys is your average age of equipment is like typically under 3.5 years. You try to keep it there, and just the different cameras you have, the different training you have in place. But yeah, my question specifically is like, how do you encourage safety, like in the recruiting process and onboarding process?
Everything we do is around safety. When recruiting drivers, if you look at our requirements from hiring drivers, it's tied around safety. When running reports and things of that nature, if we have a question about anything, We had a relationship with our safety department where we can go to them, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? They're going to give us their opinion on what they think, and and we make a decision from there. But everything we do, hands in, hands out, is about safety. We have a lot of my competitors and all that. They might be a little lax on different things, but just to be honest with us, you have a seatbelt violation. Just something simple. 3 years, you can come see us after the 3 years. 15 over speed limit. Give us 3 years after that, then we can look back at it. Cell phone violation, 3 years. We are very strict. We look at your PSP close, look at your violations, what you pull over, your truck inspections. Was a violation something that could have been prevented, or was it anything you can prevent it? Our safety department, they have a lot of great people. And I can assure you, we work close together with everything. And that's not awesome. That's not only when recruiting driver, but we use that on a retention standpoint too, to keep the driver, because we can hire anybody, but if you're not giving them the lessons and keeping them up on the up-to-date trends and different things, you're going to have problems with them in the field. And I could say our safety department, they are good at keeping them with the driver, making sure they're keeping the speed down, making sure they got integrity, doing the right thing when no one is watching. So
that's important. One thing, so I'm a big podcast fan, which I guess that's kind of ironic because we're doing a podcast. But one thing Ed Milet says, because I listen to his podcast, is like watch people without the sound on. So like act like the sound's off. So don't watch what people say, like watch what they do. And so when you said that integrity piece, it just made me think of that. Like, shouldn't really watch what people are saying, watch what they're doing on a daily basis.
Exactly.
And how they treat people.
Exactly.
Yeah. One of the things I say with my kids, I have like a 4-year-old and then we have a 15-month-old, but like I want the 4-year-old to like catch me doing things like that are like good things. Like I was having a conversation this morning because like faith is one thing that's important to me. And I was like, I want him like catching me reading the Bible, not catching me doing something I shouldn't be doing. It's I love that. Love that integrity piece. That's
Aaron,
I
can tell you this, what you're saying with catching someone doing something. My son now is 8-year-old, my youngest. My other kids, they 22, 21, 18, and yes, I do have an 8-year-old. But everything I do when he's around, he's there. I'm actually a deacon in my church. And my church is a little country church. This particular time, it was my time we rotated deacons around to do the prayer. Well, you get down on your knees and you saying the prayer and all that. It was ironic. My 8-year-old, when we said amen and raised my head up, he was right beside me on his knees. The same thing. And the older members, and it was quite a few members of the church, they were like, keep up the good work and all that. So it's a great thing that, yes, with your faith and all, keep your children involved. And
well, that's what I just know they're not going to remember just what I say. Like they're really going to remember what I do.
Exactly.
Like way more. Cause I think back to just, cause my parents had a big impact, like talking about the faith piece on me. Cause I caught them, reading the Bible as well and studying it. And so that, yeah, but I don't remember, all the times of them saying like do this, like, cause that's just like teaching and you get so much information, but like the real information I remember from a kid that like stuck was like, what did they do?
Yeah. And Aaron, that's true with recruiting, to be honest with you. I myself, I manage the recruiting team. I'm over them all that, but I don't leave it up to them just to be the ones who call in the drivers and doing all the reports. I'll jump in a heartbeat and help them out and stuff. And that goes a long way with your team. When they see you actually out doing stuff, calling drivers, talking to them, working apps along with them, that gives them a sense of pride. And to me, I think they want to work harder or whatever. So,
And that goes back to just your initial comments around Bob Heniff and his involvement is just, he's willing to do that. He's willing to do any job like that. You're saying that was super impactful for you. And so that's what he does. And it seems to permeate your entire culture, just from the different people I've been able to interact with so far.
Most definitely.
So the next section I'm going to go into is industry insights. And so my first question there is, do you have more drivers in the pipeline like this year versus last year? Like what is the recruitment kind of landscape looking like for you guys?
We have, yes, it's way more drivers in the pipeline than it was last year. Last year, the industry was a totally flop, not only for the tanker side, but for trucking, period. And a lot of these smaller companies or smaller 5 to 10 truck carriers or whatever, they went out of business. So they were looking for companies like us to come to. We have a ton of people that are applying. The thing, what I see is getting qualified drivers. We got a lot of folks out there, yeah, they can hold a steering wheel and get in there, but do they fit tankers? Are they the right fit for us? And a lot of them are not. They don't have that tank experience. They don't have the hazmat or tanker endorsements, for God's sakes. They want you to train them, but they don't want to put in the work and effort when going through the training. So we train certain spots, certain company drivers, but we don't train ICs, we don't train fleet drivers and things of that nature. And that knocked a lot of people out of the box. And we have even had drivers that are applying now that maybe it was doing flatbed or van or whatever the case. They have their own truck. They might have had experience with tank, but they don't have equipment on the truck. So that is knocking them out from being approved. And you also have a lot of drivers, they want to come on, they genuine about it, but they want you to help them to get their equipment on and do all this stuff. You're probably thinking like, yeah, that might be a good idea, when actuality it's not, because you help him get his equipment on and 5-6 months down the road, he's not happy, he or she is gone, then you got a loss there. You got to spend more money to take it off if they bring it back to you to take it off, or you just don't lost it. So we're getting a lot more drivers in the portal. It's just finding those good drivers. We like the military. We're looking for a few good men and women, but you got to be that right person to go through with us.
Yeah. And kind of like the military in that you have high standards,
Yes.
like back to the safety piece. And so it's like high standards, but just the right people. And it sounds like it's just an awesome opportunity for drivers.
That's one thing that we have been looking at too. Harder is the military people. Military people is coming in to drive, because you got some people that has drove trucks, tankers in the military, but they're the more disciplined type folks and easy to train too. So,
are you doing something specifically like for veterans, like in terms of outreach or anything like that?
There are several different veteran programs out there that we have been touching bases with them, visiting bases. That there are a lot of people that are retiring and want to get in the trucking world, and we're taking advantage of it. For the ones that has that good safe record, good record on their DD-214, we Heniff has a home for you. So
that's
yes,
awesome.
we are.
So where is we talked about kind of driver recruiting and like where that's headed in the trends. Next question is, what marketing channels are working well for you guys, or driver referral program, anything like that? What's working for you guys?
The number one source for us getting drivers, besides social media, I'm going to start off with, is the driver referral program. You have drivers that send folks over to you got drivers that get out and recruit other drivers just because they're working in a good place. And when you have that, you're pretty much going to have some good drivers coming in certain markets or whatever. The drivers might not be well, but for the most, the driver refers number one source. The next source is going to be social media. You probably see our ads and stuff all over Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, for God's sakes, all of those places with the social media side. And that come in play because just like instead of them filling out a short form, they can message you back and forth. They can create these little small groups. I'm in a lot of, especially Facebook groups, and some of my recruiters are too, where we're able to have like these calls, these group chats, and being able to talk to them. And that's where you get your real drivers from, and social media. If you're not using social media, something you might want to rethink it. It's different from back in the day. Back in the early 1300s, we was putting stuff on Indeed, Craigslist, Glassdoor, all those pages. We still use them, but social media / driver referrals are the two sources that you got to use. You got
That's
to.
awesome. So your recruiting department actually, like, and you yourself, like, are in these different driver groups and interacting with them there, messaging, and then that ends up actually resulting in quite a few hires.
Yes.
That's awesome.
All day, every day. I wish, but you can't see my screen. I was looking at it's constantly messages coming through. And most of the time it's drivers, like in the evening time, you look at drivers that shut down for the day. Today is Thursday. They looking at their settlements, what they're getting on Friday. They're getting pissed off. And so that's when they start getting on Facebook and these other pages, sending messages and all that. By the weekend, we have the app. And if everything goes well, by Monday and Tuesday, we don't process it. And we send them up for an interview. And that's how you get your drivers, the good ones, So
yeah. That's a gold tip right there. That's pretty cool. And I like how you're even thinking about the time of day. And then you're also not, it sounds like you wouldn't be getting onto your recruiters because they're on Facebook, because that they're messaging,
this is
people
the one
where they are.
That they are messaging, and they're using it to their advantage. That's how they get leads. That's how they get drivers to apply. And it's folks that they know by word of mouth. The driver's getting a bonus from referring that person over to them. So, hey, it's worth it. It works.
That's awesome. So the next question I have, this is just kind of a more broad question, but like as I said, like this, our general audience is anywhere from recruiters to managers, recruiters, directors of recruitment, all the way up to C-level executive suite. And for those specific advice, like what advice do you have for like your peers in the industry? Let's say like in a director of recruiting type role.
I would tell them to be a people person, number one. Lead by example and keep your phone on. Keep your doors open. If you listen to your recruiters and if you listen to the drivers, they'll tell you the tools they need. They'll tell you the issues they're having out in the market, and don't ignore them. Find a way to overcome those issues. And you think about it, as for me, myself, when I go to my boss, it's either going to be one or two words, yes or no. Now, me being the gentleman that I am, if it's no, I got a plan B and C. I'm going to come back with some questions just to see why it's no. But always have a plan B, plan C for your recruiters to achieve your goals. We all want to hire drivers. We all got goals, company goals, and things that we got to achieve, but you got to have a plan. Keep an open door of communication. Let them ask questions. If they're not asking, you got problems. If they get quiet on you, you got problems. I tell my people all the time, I can't answer what I haven't been asked. I can't fix what I don't know about. And that's just the truth, And that's anything with anybody. So.
Yeah, that applies, even outside of recruiting, just in life in general. That's just golden wisdom. So, is there anything I should have asked Chris today that I didn't ask that you want to talk a little bit more about?
I can't think of nothing offhand. I again, going back to my fellow directors of recruiting and other people in the industry, communication is the key. I can say that all day, every day. If you can't talk to drivers or other people, you got issues. You got to keep that level of communication where you getting out the right information and you're making it fit to whomever or whatever type of driver you're trying to hire. We here at Heniff, we specialize in tanker, but all our managers have an open door policy. All our managers, if they don't know the answer, they're going to find someone with the answer, and we'll get back with you. We work hands on hands with our safety department. They are all some great people. Some people that hear safety like, man, I don't want to hear that safety manager mouth. Well, if they're not getting on your nerves, they're not doing their job. And, if they make everybody happy, they're not doing their job. So I like to think they stay in the middle and they're doing their job. So just keep open door communication. Talk to your recruiters, talk to your drivers, talk to your personnel, and give them the right information. Everything else will be all right.
That's awesome. All right, Chris. Well, thank you for your time today. That'll wrap up the show. Really appreciate it. I just learned so much, and I was trying not to look to the side because I was jotting down notes the whole time. Just enjoying it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Appreciate everything.
Our goal with the Hire Truckers podcast is to provide industry insights, marketing trends, and motivation to help you level up your recruiting game. Thank you for joining us today. And if we added value, please take 10 seconds to share this with your network.